Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Padmavavam Vasishtam Shaktim cha Tatputra Parasharam cha Vyasam Shukam Gaudapadam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Matasya Shishyam Sri Shankaracharya Matasya Padma Padam Chahasta Malakam Chashishyam Tam Totakam Vartika Karamanyan Asmad Gurun Santatamanatosmi Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Bandhanam Vicharahina Jivanam. Bondage is thoughtless life. Here, Vicharahinam, Ajnanam, the ignorance of the nature of absence of right thinking is the cause for the bondage. That is why it is said, विचार कैसा करना है? How to think? So you will feel very offended if I say you don't know how to think. मैं सोच रहा हूँ. I am also thinking. Now the point is, okay, you know you're thinking, but what are you thinking? So many things are there about my business, about my family, about my politics in this country. ठीक है? आपके बारे में कुछ सोच रहे हो? Of course I am thinking my health, about my financial condition. मैं इसके बारे में मैं माना बता रहा हूँ. आपके बारे, आत्मन के बारे, Atma Vichar. Who is doing Atma Vichar? Who can do Atma Vichar? First thing is, who can do Atma Vichar? जिसको आत्म के बारे में कुछ मालूम है. First of all, you should know about Atman. इसके लिए आपको, for this purpose only, it is said, Santam Mahantam Samupetya, in verse number 5, sorry, 7, 8. Santam Mahantam Samupetya, having approached a person of knowledge who is also a Deshika. Who is a Deshika? Shishyebhyo Jnanam Dishati iti Deshika. One who is directing the mind of the student towards something which he should think about. See, when we read any material science, we are thinking about an object which is out there on this world. It can be anything. It can be metallurgy, it can be software, it can be math, it can be anything else, a language. But a Deshika is one, a teacher of this caliber is one who is making you think about that which you are and which you have ignored. आप ही है वो. You are that, yet you are not. By not thinking, you are actually slowly forgetting it. Not slowly, intensely forgetting it. Because of the mind being so occupied with other things, what is so close to us is forgotten. Tad antarasya sarvasya sarvasyasya bhakyata. Upanishad says it is the innermost of everyone as well as outside. So what we see here is the Deshika is one. Tam samupeti yadavidi upasatyatena guruna upadishta yo artaha brahma rupaha tatprapti prakara rupascha tatreva samyak ahitaha atma antakarnam yena tadrushasan vimuktaye prayatete iti anena mukti icham vina tatra prayatna asambhavad mumukshutvam dhanitam. So it is here said prayatna asambhavad mumukshutvam tatra prayatna asambhavad. What is, why the effort cannot be put by a person about thinking about the self? Mukti icham vina. Without the intense desire for liberation, there is no possibility or even the attempt to do the Atma Vichara. See, it is simple. Our mind naturally thinks about that from which we derive happiness. And even if the mind is negatively thinking about something, it is only to get rid of it so that we'll be happy. Ravana intensely thought about Rama. Why? Not that he liked Rama. You want to get rid of him so that he will be happy. So even that which you are thinking of, thinking intensely, hatefully, negatively, it is because you want to be happy. If there is a pain in my body or some unhealthy condition, I think about it not because I like it. I want to get rid of it. In the same way, anywhere your mind is continuously engaged, it only shows that is where your focus of happiness is. So when I do not know the very source of happiness is Atman, and therefore I do not have the desire to realize that Atman, obviously my mind would not go there. So the role of the teacher is very crucial here. He says it is necessary for the teacher to create mumukshutvam. It is not so easily would come to anyone. Manushyatva we got. But mumukshutva, see, most of the people, in Chinmaya mission, there are so many Swamis are there. If you ask, majority of them before they met Gurudev, they never thought of anything about moksha. क्या मोक्ष है इसमें? ना ये स्कूल में नहीं पढ़ा है, कॉलेज में नहीं पढ़ा है. It's not among the friends we discuss about moksha. Even at home, nobody talks about it. Then how? That is the greatness of the Mahatmas. Their association will create a desire which was not there before. It is as good as Apple introducing iPad, which was not there before. Now I want iPad. How did you know? Create a desire. Of course, that is about an object, a product. But here, Mahatmas are those who not only change the direction of our thinking, but also will increase the desire about something which we never thought about. That is why it is said, anena mukti ichcham vina tatra prayatna asambhavat. Without the desire for liberation, there is no possibility of even developing the interest to think about the self. That is why it is said, Deshikam tena upadishta artham samahita atma. Upadishta artham samahita atma iti anena satatam brahma samahita brahma samahidamana sattvasya sarvakarma sannyasam vina asambhavad vivekina viraktena swarupatah sakala karma sannyasa purassaram brahmanishtam guru samupetya sarvada brahma vichara kartavyah ityuktam bhavati. While that the intense desire for liberation, when it takes place and the mind naturally turning towards the self takes place, then one comes to understand the futility of engaging in varieties of actions. Because one comes to also realize karmana na anandam na moksha bhavati. By action, there is no real liberation. I mean, like going to heaven, etc. Wo bhi hoga. That is according to the Vedic literature. But mukti, no, not liberation. By nature, karma will repeat itself. Because any action you do, it is not complete. Action will lead only to action. We may think action will lead to inaction. That's foolishness. Action will never lead to inaction. It's only postponement. Once you have got the taste of receiving the result of action, will you stop it? You think that after eating, you will never have a desire to eat? But for a short period of time, you will not have that desire because you are feeling full so far. After some time, again you will get hungry. So action never leads to inaction. One cannot say that after doing so many activities, one day I will suddenly become, actionless. Nahi hoga. Sarvam karma kilam partha jnane parisamapyate. Only jnana mein samapta hoga. Only knowledge can bring an end to the action, not anything else. That jnanam, that particular knowledge in which action can end, is what is to be learned from the Mahatma. Santam mahantam samupetya deshikam teno upadishta artha samahita atma. Mind able to dwell on the words uttered by the teacher and ability to retain its attention on that. गुरु वाक्य में आपको श्रद्धा होना चाहिए. Nisargadatta Maharaj, a very simple person living in Maharashtra, and he was not even well-educated, so-called well-educated person in the university, hardly school pass maybe. एक ही मंत्र उन्होंने लिया. Only one thing that he took from his teacher. I am that. एक ही मंत्र. Not too many. No, not Upanishad mantra. I am the self. I am not anything else. That is only one thing he held on to. Just like Ramana Maharshi, that he said, I only held on to one thing. Who am I? That very question daunted him, and the question is haunted him, not daunted him, haunted him. Who am I? Similarly, Guru Upadishta Artha Samahita Atma, one who is dwelling on intensely dwelling on the words of the teacher. Now, here, one thing is about Vedanta is, entire responsibility is on your shoulder only. The Guru does not carry you. Gurudev used to say, I'm not a donkey to carry you. I'm not here to carry you anywhere. Do it yourself. Many times I've heard him say openly, when somebody says, Swamiji, bless me, bless yourself, and he will walk away. If you are not blessing yourself, outside person what can he do? So here it is the verse very, very strongly comes. It is similar to what is said by Bhagavan Krishna in Gita, chapter 6. Uddaredatmanatmanam Atmanatma Magnam Samsara Varidhau Yoga Rudattvamasadya Samyak Darshana Nishtaya Uddaredatmanatmanam Magnam Samsara Varidhau Yoga Rudattvamasadya Samyak Darshana Nishtaya. Atmanam Atmana Uddaret. I want you to get up now. Get up. Get up now. Not you. You are only. Sit down. Now to get up, what did you do? No, followed instruction is okay. That is fine. How did you get up? How did you get up?
By myself.
No, see, the thing is, many times people cannot get up. They will have to hold on to some chair or something. Healthy person will get up without holding on to anything. Right? If you're holding on to something and getting up means you are weak. You are not strong. The muscles are not strong. You're getting weak. Gurudev used to say, raising up in one's life should not depend upon somebody else. If it depends upon somebody else, then you are not actually raising up. You are a slave. If one has fallen down, falling down, everybody does. Getting up, only the person who has the interest to live, interest to progress, interest to improve will do it. Some people, when they fall down, they say, okay, mera, abhi kuch nahi hoga. That's all, I'm done. But one who gets up knows that falling is also me. Getting up also is me only. There may be 100 different reasons for one to fall down, but there is only one way you can get up, you yourself. So here, especially when it comes to the spiritual sadhana, Bhagavan Krishna as well as all the masters would say, you alone can raise yourself. Atmanam Atmana Uddharet. Dhru means to hold. Dhru dharati. Uddharati. Hold up yourself. Atmanam, yourself. Atmana, by yourself. Why? And you may say now, oh no, I'm not fallen down anywhere. What are you saying? I'm okay. I'm not fallen down. Yes, all of us are fallen down. Not fallen down. We are sinking. Magnam. Magnam means he has sunk. Magnam Atmanam, the one which is already sunk. Where? Samsara Varidhau. In the ocean of samsara. Samsara Varido Magnam Atmanam Atmana Uddharet. The self, this little self that is presently having been drowned in the world of change, one should lift by oneself. Swamiji, you say that you lift yourself. We are already, you said that we are sunk. And it is not just a little bowl of water or a pond of water. It's a vari. Varidhi. Varidhi means ocean. So here it says, Tatra mukti artam kriyamana prayatnasya samyak darshana nishtantatvat moksha sakshat sadhanam samyak darshana nishtam tatra mukhya hedum para vairagya apara paryayam yoga rudhatvam cha aha anena shlokena. How I should get up or how should I lift myself up? Yoga rudhatvam asadhya. Taking the help of the practice of yoga rudhatva. The word is ruh in Sanskrit means to grow, to climb. Ruh rohati, rohana, arohana, avarohana. In music also, when you take the scale up, it's called arohan, avarohan. Ruh, rudha means climbed. Yoga aruda, word is used in Gita also. Yoge arudaha or yogena arudaha. With the help of the practice, one who is able to climb the mind. It's called yoga. Climbing the mind means what? Just like climbing the horse means controlling the horse. Right? You climbed up the horse means it is under your control. In the same way, yoga aruda means one who has climbed the mind. Yoga arudatvam, the state of climbing the mind, controlling the mind, asadhya, having done, having completed. For what? Samyak darshana nishtaya, and also by continuous abidance in the higher vision. Samyak darshana nishtaya uddharet. With that, you lift yourself. What is yoga rudhatva? That is said in Gita. Yatahi na indriyarteshu na karmasu anushajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudaha tata uchyate. Sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudaha. One who has stopped projecting the notion of joy in the object, such a person is what is considered as a yoga ruda. So long as we continue to project happiness in something else, our mind cannot be with us. It is like investment, One may say, my worth is 20 million. Where is the money? I put the money there, I put the money here, I put the money here, I put the money there. It's not with you. You can claim yourself 20 million worth, but where is the money? आपके पास है? नहीं नहीं, मेरे पास नहीं, पेपर है, पेपर. And today I'm 20, tomorrow 18, Swamiji. Why? Went down. Because so the share market is not doing well, went down. Yesterday's, in previous years, politics has nothing to do with the economy. They were separate things. So people are not that much interested in politics in general. They may talk about politics, but what the politicians do has nothing to do with their business issue. Today, everything that goes on in the politics of the world is going to affect your investments. What money, what is your worth? My worth is decided by some people who are sitting in the Senate. Not only in the Senate, anywhere else in the world. Some Singapore, it is happening. Gone. Why? Because my money is sitting there also. So, and every behavior of the politician or political situation is going to affect my worthiness. So, how interconnected is our, situation? So, if you say that I am unable to control the mind, why we are not able to keep our mind controlled? Because it is not there with us. It is being decided by behavior of all others around. It is as though we made a remote, we made some 15 copies of remote and then give it to everybody. You please control me. It's like the TV being controlled by a remote. If let us say two people having the remote control for the same TV, what will happen? You tell me. One wants to see sports, another wants to see some news. Click, 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 click. In the same way, we have given the remote control to everybody around us, and they decide my moods, my emotions, my reactions, my feelings, my priorities. Such a person, how can you call him as a yoga ruda? We can call him only yoga muda. Boga muda, not yoga muda, boga muda. Bogena mudatvam. So here, Bhagavat Vachanat, the Bhagavat Paravairagya Paravairagya Purassara Samyak Darshana Nishta Eva Samsara Abdi Patita Atma Uddharena Hetuhu Iti Bhava. Thus, Bhagavan himself has said that Yoga Rudatvam is the only way by which a person can uplift oneself to the continuous contemplation upon the self. And very many places also, here also something is quoted. Very many places also, why this samsara is considered as a huge ocean? Because there are sharks, there are crocodiles, there are whirlpools, there are waves. Never a ocean is quiet. You cannot expect the ocean to be quiet. Constant roar will be going on. Constant waves will be going on. Hitting on the banks will be going on. Shores. In the same way, samsara is filled with so many such activities. Not only surfacely, you can see so many movements of the water, but under the water also, there are sharks moving around. So here it is said, avidya tad vilasa rupasya samsarasya samyak jnanam vina dustaratvat varidhitvena rupanam. It is considered like an ocean because without the help of the correct knowledge, it is impossible to cross. Dustaranam. So dustaranam, through taranam means to cross. Dustaranam means difficult to cross. Nahi anatmanam dehatmatvena manvanasya tasmin jayamane mriyamane va tadgata dharmasvasmin nasti di vijnadum shakyam. Truth pipasayute va prane sukini dukkini va antakarane. Evam avidya asmita ragadvesha abhimani desha ragadvesha abhiniveshanam santatatvat kleshadi panchakasya tarangataya rupanam. This ocean has huge waves. See, when we identify with anything, that identified object decides our moods. It's what he says. Jayamane mriyamane va tadgata dharma swasmin nasti iti vijnadum na shakyam. When I am intensely identified with an object or a thing which is subject to constant change, it is not possible for one to know that that is not my nature. It's not possible for him. It is like a dog standing in front of the mirror, not knowing it is not another dog. What will it do? It will try to fight with that. Shout at it, bark at it, scratch it. So don't you think that is such a foolish act of the dog? Who knows? One who knows that is not true. Isn't it? You also do the same thing. Fight with your mirror reflection. I read a joke. One lady, I don't know whether I told you, she went to the psychiatrist and she said, my husband is going, I think, conked off. What do you call it? Bonkers. Okay, bonkers. Now, why do you say that? He's talking to the plants. Seriously. He's talking to the plants. So the doctor said he's talking to the plants is okay. Nothing wrong. But find out whether he's talking or conversing. Then it's a worst case scenario. So if you start conversing with your reflection, then there's a problem there. When you're talking, it is okay, or maybe practicing something. A conversation. That means you really imagine somebody is standing there and talking to you. So when we identify with something and that being constantly subject to change and that is not me, Jayamane mriyamane va tadgata dharma, the characteristics of this, swasmin na asti, it is not mine, iti vijnadum na shakyam. One who has intense identification with the body or any false self cannot comprehend that the qualities and characteristics of the body, etc., are not mine. And therefore, Kshut Vibhasa Sishpisayuteva Prane Sukini Dukkini Vantakarane. Hunger and thirst and joy and sorrow of the mind, none of them can be seen as not mine. Tarangataya Rupanam. Evam avidya asmita ragadvesha abhiniveshanam santatatvat. Likes and dislikes and ego and pride and fear of death, etc. All these things are continuously there. Kleshadi panchakasya tarangataya rupanam. They are the waves in the ocean. Brahma eva brahma. Asmin tad buddhi, atasmin tad buddhi reva avartaha. In that very ocean, there is a whirlpool in which when you get caught, you are really getting strangled there. Atasmin tad buddhi. That which is not there, you have the buddhi that it is. That is called the whirlpool in this ocean. And therefore here, samsara varidi magnatvam is what is none other than anatmasu ahamiti swarupa apraptya sthitireva. Anatmasu ahamiti. In that which is not self, when you have the feeling it is myself, that is called sinking in this mighty ocean of change. That's why it said, Manayeva Manushyanam Karanam Bandamokshayoho Bandaya Vishaya Saktam Muktye Nirvishayam Smrutam. Liberation is possible only there is nirvishayam. There is the falsification of objects. Today in the Advaita Makaranda class also, there's a small discussion we had on the point. See, when I am awake now, I know the false nature of dream. As soon as I come out of my dream, I come to realize that what I dreamt, even though I felt so real about it during the dream, is no reality. Right? That we all know. But do we know in dream, whatever I have experienced in waking is unreal? Think. When I wake up, I know what I experienced in dream is unreal. In dream, do you negate and falsify waking? Why not? Sometimes you know you're dreaming. If you know you're dreaming, then it won't really give you experience. Experience is only when you give reality to that factor, that what is going on. So just like when I wake up, the dream is seen to be false, do I have the same ability to falsify the waking experience? I don't. If you are able to do that, think about it. Neither the dream is true in the waking, nor the waking is true in the dream. And what Mahatma says, both are false. As much as the dream is false in waking, waking is false in dream. That's why it is said, samsara swapna tulyoki ragadveshadi sankulaha swakale satyavadbadi prabodhe sati asad bhavet. This samsara is swapna tulya. It is equal to that swapna. Raga, dvesha, adi, sankulaha. Filled with likes and dislikes. Swakale, at the time of the experience, satyavad bhadi, it appears to be true. Prabodhe sadi, on waking up, asad bhavet. For a Mahatma who is experienced samadhi, you would say, absolute clarity, as much as a dream is untrue, so also waking. Equally. When somebody asks this question, Swamiji, if that may be true, but is it not true that in the waking, what I see is not my wife is also seeing the same thing? Therefore, it is true. Majority doesn't prove that it is true. When 10 people say the same thing, doesn't mean it is true. Can you come to that conclusion? Many people until recently thought that earth is flat. Is it true? Yeah. Just because the majority people say so. Until the scientists went out and saw, by exploration, and they found out that it is not true. It is round. It is a globe. And they gave the pictures, whether you believe it or not, they gave the pictures to show that it is not. Then we said, yes, 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 you are right. Until then, similarly, these Mahatmas who have entered into the Samadhi and came out and say, Hare Baba, both are false. We don't believe it. You can believe the scientists. You have seen outside, gone outside and saw the earth has blown. Did you? Why do you believe it? You trust science, right? For whatever it is worth. So, Samadhi Avasthayam, in the state of Samadhi, when the Mahatmas go there and then realize, hey, equally the waking state is also as false as the dream, which they have encountered it and saw it clearly, then come out and say, that is what is said in the Upanishad is right. That is also false. Even though majority of the people say this, no, it is not true. What you are saying is wrong. That is why it is said, Upadishtartha Samahitasan. What is spoken by the teacher has to be taken with the real, as a real authority at a pramana. And when we do not do that, then we are sunk. Magna. Magnam samsara varidam. Samsaravadi magnatvam. That is what is called. Ataha vivechana shunyasya manasaha shariradi samsaktavatvam. Vivechana shunyasya, one who does not think, manasaha, that mind, shariradi samsaktatvam, attached to the body, etc. Atmanaha samsara varita magmari magnatvam. That is what is called getting sunk. So how do you come out of it? Shastra janya vivekavata manasa uddaret. That is why you put Shastra janya vivekata. This viveka, this differentiation clearly, which is real and what is not real, cannot be comprehended by our independent intellectual thinking. Not possible. Because our independent intellectual thinking is supported by our personal present experiences, which is not going to falsify the so-called world which we perceive. The real and unreal differentiation is not possible by our own intellectual abilities. That is why the arguments or the teachings and the logic provided by the Shastra, Shastra janya vivekavata manasa uddaret. Anatma samyog anatma abhyaha apanayet. From your own ignorance, you come out. Samsara varido magnam atmanam yogarudatvam asadhya sarmak darshana nittaya atmana uddarediti anvayaha. And what is the yogarudatvam? Yogarudatva vishadayanneva shravana manana nididhyasanani sanyasa uttarakalikani samyak darshana nishta avapti sadhanani tavadaha sanyasya ityadina. The next verse is to say, how is that possible for an individual to keep the mind under the control and making sure that it does not again fall back into that sinking into the mighty ocean of samsara? How is that possible? So the next verse, verse number 10. Sanyasya sarva karmani
Sanyasya sarvakarmani
bhavabandha vimuktaye yatyadam panditair dhiraihi atmabhyasa upastitaihi sanyasya sarvakarmani bhavabandha vimuktaye yatyadam panditair dhiraihi atmabhyasa upastitaihi. Atma abhyasa upastitaihi panditaihi dhiraihi yatyatam. Yatnam is prayatnam. Kuryat. May the one who is engaged in the practice of paying attention to the self, those men of knowledge with proper intelligence, let them put effort towards that. For what? Bhavabandha vimuktaye. For the sake of liberation from the bondage of the world. After what? After giving up all actions which are self-centered. Sanyasya sarva karmani. It is not easy for us to come to a point of giving up all actions. But we can do one thing for clearly, slowly as we think, what is prarabdha and what is arabdha? Think about it. Arabdha means you created it. Prarabdha means not you created. So, whatever is the action that I need to undertake based upon what has been the result of my own past actions, that let me not give up, let me go through it, and whatever be the consequence, I'm ready to face it. That is the nature of a person who lives in this world, apparently look like he's doing the work, but actually he's just facing the result of his past actions. That's all. Whereas arabdha, meaning started actions, arambha karna, किसके लिए आरंभ करते हो कर्म? इच्छा पूर्ति के लिए. Only to fulfill a desire, the action. Action by itself is not going to give any satisfaction to anyone. If the result, and yesterday also I was talking about that point, in no action anybody will undertake without thinking about what he or she will get as a result. Prayojanam anuddishya muda bina pravartate. Not even a fool will engage in action without thinking about the result. Karma phalam anuddishya, without thinking about the result of action. Now, if a person says, I want a particular result of an action, and then I will accordingly plan and do the action, this is what most of us will engage in all our endeavors. Phal kisko chahiye? Who wants actually the result of any action? One who feels incomplete. Iske bina, without this, I will be apurna. I will become incomplete. I need this to feel full. I need this to feel complete. Such a person alone will take up new action. In fact, it is said that the prarabdha itself will continue the whole life. Your own past action itself will be in your whole life will be needed only to just finish your prarabdha only. Uske upar, more than that, you are adding more. Kya hoga usko? What will happen? The cycle never ends. By the time you And you realize that I have created this now. Arey Baba. फिर आना है. I read a joke. One person was walking. There was a banana peel was there. So he didn't look at it. His foot went on there and he fell down. He really got hurt. He got up and started to walk further. एक और banana peel was, one more banana peel was. अरे बाबा फिर गिरना पड़ेगा वही. Again I had to fall down. Think about this. That is the stupidity that we are now in. Who told you that you have to put your foot there? Knowing well, if I put the foot, earlier I experienced it. I did put the foot there and then I fell down. Now, again, if I see the banana peel, should I put the foot up there? It's so extraordinary. So, ye karma mene, whatever I have done in the past is now coming down to me as situations in my life. To meet this situation itself takes so much time. The whole life will be. Why am I adding more? This does not get into the head of the people. They go for this cat, rat, dog. अरे आपको वो बच्चे लोग हैं ना, यही प्रारब्ध है, उसके ऊपर ये भी क्यों करते हो तुम? That you cannot help it, somehow it happened. Okay. Now, why are you going after something? जरूरत क्या है? Not thinking. So, arabdha, prarabdha itself will complete. So, how do then what is sannyasa here means then? Sannyasya sarva karmani. Actions that you cannot stop. Can you stop breathing, please? Stop eating. Whatever is needed for the body to sustain itself is not to be stopped. Bhagavan Krishna was Deha Yatra Abhijate Na Prasiddheta Karmana. Even to maintain this body's journey, you should not stop working. Sharira Yatra. Sharira Yatra ke liye, for the body to sustain itself, whatever is necessary, that you need to do, because that is meant for meeting the prarabdha. But don't add more action to yourself. That is, at least at this point, that we should understand as sannyas. Now, one may say, Swamiji, no, I am not adding any action. No new undertaking I am taking up. So, क्या संन्यास आप बता रहे हो? Krishna very clearly says, Nyeyasya nitya sannyasi yo nadveshti na kamshati. जिसके पास राग द्वेष है, उसके पास कर्म होगा ही होगा. That karma is not an action physically you do. आपके पास राग द्वेष है, तो कर्म होगा ही होगा. Because rag, what is raga dvesh? What is likes and dislikes? Because when you have a likes for something, whether you like it or not, you will engage in those actions to pursue that. When you have a dislike for something, even to get rid of that, you will engage in action. You cannot help it. Let us say I'm traveling and I go and stay in a hotel. In that hotel room, I suddenly found when it rains, it started to leak. Achha? What action should I take? I'm there for only one day. What action should I take? Yeah, I go tell the manager, hey, this is leaking. उसमें मुझे राग द्वेष है क्या नहीं? मुझे राग है द्वेष है? द्वेष है? I hate this? No. Do I have attachment to the top, to the room? No. मेरा नहीं है. So जो मेरा नहीं है उसमें मेरा राग द्वेष नहीं होगा. I will have neither like or not dislike, neither attachment or detachment. There is nothing like that. It's an observation. An observation is necessary to come out of this judgment or the association in the form of likes and dislikes. When we realize this, sannyas ho gaya. There itself sannyas is complete. Nyayasya nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kankshati. One who na dveshti, he doesn't hate, na kankshati, he doesn't have desire for it. जो जिसके पास राग द्वेष है, one who has likes and dislikes, he cannot but be a karmin. He cannot but be an actor. So, what do you mean by sarva sankalpa sanya? Here, sarnyasya sarva karmani. What does it mean by that? It means that allow the prarabdha, because that you cannot stop. What prarabdha, the past action, will bring in as the need to meet those situations in life which may expect you to engage in those actions. This body is also a prarabdha. You have to engage in an action relevant to this body in terms of feeding and taking care of that. That is also action, but you cannot stop that. In the name of religion, please don't torture your body. It's the most foolish thing that you do. Fasting. 9 days fasting. If you 9-day fasting, you can't even think. पहले सोचो ये मनुष्य जन्म किसके लिए दिया है? सोचने के लिए. No, I'm not going to eat. No water also. निर्जल उपवास. किसके लिए कर रहे हो? What's the purpose? So that I will remain foolish. Good, do. Go ahead and continue. If you're doing upvas as a tapas, yes, I understand. To control your mind, if you're doing it, it's fine. To observe your mind, how it wants food and demands food, and you have to control that urges in your mind for which sake you are doing it, good. Not to torture the body. So, yogina karma kurvanti sangam tektva atma shuddhaye. Bhagavan Krishna clearly says that. Yoginaha karma kurvanti eva. Men of action, yogis engage in action, but their purpose is what? Sangam tektva raga dvesha tektva, having given up the raga dvesha, atma shuddhaye, chitta shuddhaye, for the purity of mind. Only when the mind has become pure, it will come to you. You will be able to hold it. When the horse is running, can you hold it? Can you run? Can you get onto it? Think about it. Horse is already running. Can you able to get onto it? Only a trained people can get onto the horse which is running. They will run at the same speed and get onto it. I remember when I was first learning how to bike. I've seen people who run with the cycle and the bike and then get onto it. Even now I can't do that. I want the bike to be stationary and then get onto it. So at least the bike will be in your hand. But horse has his own mind. Because you ask him to stop, it won't stop. Similarly, the mind which is already running, how will you hold on to it? How will you control it? So Atma Shuddhi, Chitta Shuddhi means what? Where the mind has reduced its intensity of movement, such a mind alone can be the right mind to get on to. Therefore, Yoginaha karma kurvanti sangam tiktva. When the men of action will engage, yogis will engage in action to reduce raga dvesha so that they can be yoga aruna. So that they can take on to the mind. So, Chittasya Shuddhaye Karma. That is the next verse he is talking about. Why the action is prescribed, for what is the purpose of action. Any action, whether rituals or any other worldly duties that you need to accomplish, domestic responsibilities, worldly duties, meeting the prarabdha, all those things which you cannot give up, but you can change the attitude for which you are doing. That will be taken up in the next. There is a logical flow of things, if you see. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.